schools on the whole seem to me to be very much involved in this narrowed curriculum that is focused on the exams almost entirely. And at university, we are, or on my course, and certainly at Sheffield University as well, where I was lecturing last week, we're looking at holistic teaching. We are looking at experiential teaching. And what I see generally as I go around the country, not necessarily just in South Yorkshire, but across the country, is sort of passive receipt of what I call old knowledge. Things we already know, I tell them to you, and now you know them, and then you regurgitate them. And as you know, with any exam that any kid ever took, ever, the first thing they do after the exam is burn their books in the garden, and with it, the knowledge, knowledge in inverted commas, goes with it. The young people, the 20 to 30-year-olds that I interviewed, who make up the core of this book, were saying that actually, when they're looking to employ other people, the exam and the qualification is the least of the qualities that they're looking for from these people. I see a lot of examination of unseen text where it doesn't matter who was writing, why they were writing, when they were writing, what they thought they were doing with that writing. It's just straight into the mechanics of pulling it apart so that you can pass AO3, language, structure and form. And that is the tension in the continuing conversation of a PGCE course, is the ways in which that the trainees come back from school and they'll watch me or one of my guests or one of my colleagues talking through an exciting way of teaching. For instance, we had one of our associates, Jane Hewitt, a photographer, came in, and we looked at creativity in the English classroom, and we looked at photography as a stimulus for all sorts of writing. And the general comment from the trainees is, "This is great, Martin, this is great, Jane, this is great, but I'm not allowed to do it." If you take confidence, for instance, I think one of the ways that schools can immediately act so that they don't get left behind is to write confidence into the curriculum. Find places to explicitly say, this is where we are developing confidence in children. That was the most disappointing chapter I had to write in my book, was the fact that most of those young people that I interviewed said they'd had to develop confidence after school. What we're seeing is, I think, a stagnation of curriculum when the world has moved on. I mean, maybe when I left school, maybe it was reasonable in 1980 schmerty to anticipate that the education you'd had would last you a lifetime. But that hasn't turned out to be true. For instance, I have an O-level in computer studies from 1984, possibly Britain's most useless qualification. And actually, you have to learn, you have to unlearn, and you have to relearn. And this is a process that young people, in whatever they're doing, are going to have to do. We need, I mean, some of the things that need to be taught are things like critical thinking, the capacity to develop some cognitive flexibility, to be creative in thinking, to be able to manage people. Spelling, punctuation and grammar in 15 years' time will be your conversation with your AI machine about where you want the text, where you want the images, and when you want the sound to come in. It'll have nothing to do with the niceties of where words are put.